Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. Today is the first video of 2023 for me. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you are excited for what is coming. Man, I know that 2022 was pretty rough, folks. But man, I got a story to tell you that I think is going to really change the way that maybe that you're looking at things, whether it be in crypto or just life in general. I think you're going to be amazed by this story. Hey, Wolfgang Poker, how you doing, buddy? Folks, this is one of my great friends. He's got an amazing poker vlog. He's coming up on 100,000 subs. I know he's going to break that record or break that number here in the not too distant future. So if you love poker, then definitely go check out Wolfgang Poker. So let's get on with the story, folks. You've probably heard me say before that most people greatly underestimate what they can do in 1 year and greatly underestimate what they could do in 5 or 10. So I want to give you a quick little story about the lily pad. So there's these folks that had a pond, and they wanted this pond to have some good bass fishing and to be able to support some good ecosystems. And so they wanted lily pads to kind of take over this pond and give the fish a place to hide and kind of make it more sporting. And so they took these lily pads and they put a couple of lily pads in the pond, and unbeknownst to them, they didn't realize it, but these lily pads actually doubled, went from 2 lily pads to 4 lily pads every couple of weeks or so. So the person that told them to do this and to put this particular lily pad in there, the botanist that told them to do it, told them, hey, it's going to take a little while for your pond to fill up with the lily pads, but it'll happen, faster than you think. Just don't give up on it. So sure enough, a couple of weeks later, they come out, there's 4 lily pads in there. A couple of weeks longer, they come out, there's 8 lily pads. Well, long story short, folks, as you can imagine, like a year into this great big huge pond still only has a little teeny tiny circle of lily pads. And they go back to the guy and they're like, what in the world is going on here? You sold us on this idea. You told us these lily pads were going to double every couple of weeks, and that before we knew it, that we would have a pond full of lily pads. The guy told him, hey, just be patient. Just keep on doing what you're doing. They're going to continue to grow. They're going to continue to compound. In fact, the title of this video should be called Compound Compounding or Compounding Compound, because what ends up happening, folks, in your crypto journey is kind of similar to these lily pads. You jump into crypto, you're excited. You've seen people that have made, wealth extremely quickly, that maybe got lucky and timed it exactly right. And here you are, buying crypto, listening to us crazy influencers, and you're getting discouraged right about now. You're a year in, and it looks like your pond is empty. In fact, not only has your lily pad not grown into a nice little circle, in a lot of our cases, it's actually shrunk and it's gotten smaller. Well, folks, what happens to those lily pads in the second year is that all of a sudden that little ball jumps out and it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's like this in crypto and in business too. Folks, what you got to realize is that it takes about 90% of the time for the lily pads just to grow to about 20% of the pond. What most people don't realize in crypto is that it's going to take 90% of your money, 90% of your education, 90% of your hard blood, sweat, and tears, 90% of your emotions going rampant on you, 90% of your wife or your husband maybe losing belief, 90% of your coworkers telling you that you're crazy and that Bitcoin is going to zero. And here you are a couple years into this journey, and they're like, where's your lily pads, man? I thought you said this pond was going to be covered in lily pads. And here you are, you've got 20% of your pond is covered in lily pads. that's what your crypto journey is going to feel like, folks. But just imagine what happens a couple of weeks later when it doubles from 20% to 40%. And then it doubles from 40% of the pond to 80%. Folks, crypto happens like this more often than so many businesses. It's like 99% of you that get wealthy in crypto, it's going to take you way, way, way longer than you thought it was gonna, but it's also going to happen way, way, way faster when it happens than you could have ever imagined, because you're going to be sitting here putting in 90% of the effort and only having 20% of your bankroll, of your portfolio built. And then all of a sudden, the compounding takes effect, and the market starts to go up and Bitcoin starts to head in. And all of a sudden your coworkers are like, holy smokes, man, do you still have any of that crypto left? And you're like, yeah, man, I didn't just tell you I put my money where my mouth was these last few years. So folks, it's 2023. And the good news is we're probably in for a decent year. We're not going to regain all-time highs. We're probably not going to smash through $65,000, $70,000 Bitcoin. But I believe there's a very, very good chance that crypto will be higher by the end of 2023 than it is today. The good news is that we're getting closer and closer and closer. For those of you that have been around for the last year or more, don't quit now. That's the moral of this story. So all of a sudden, these guys wake up. It's been a few years. Their pond is filled with lily pads. And the next thing they know, they're catching these huge bass. They're having the time of their lives. But it took a little bit of time. They couldn't just put the fish right into the pond because they wouldn't have lived. Without the lily pads in there to give them shelter, to shelter from sunlight, to give them some place to hide, they would have been exposed to the elements. So they couldn't just throw these fish in the pond and start fishing. They had to stock the pond. They had to put the lily pads in there. Folks, it's like that in cryptocurrency. You were going to make more money in 3 to 6 months when crypto gets back going like it's going to go in 24 and 25. You're going to make more money in 3 to 6 months than a lot of you have probably made maybe in your whole lives if you stick to doing what you know is right and don't let anybody shake you out and tell you that it isn't going to happen. There's a lot of things in life that are uncertain. Crypto, after the Bitcoin halving in 2024, is probably going to have a massive, massive bull run. There's no guarantees in life, but I'm betting everything that I have on it. I'm putting my reputation, I'm putting my family on the line. I mean, my family's had to go through some struggle this year. It ain't been all rainbows and tulip blossom, man. Let me tell you, when you watch your portfolio get crushed off by 75, 85, 95%. And at the same time, you're living off of the crypto because I don't have an outside source of income. I don't have a job. I don't have something else that's bringing in a bunch of money. On top of that, I mean, the YouTube channel is doing fantastic. I'm excited about it. 3,600 subs, but the YouTube channel isn't bringing in, anything. So, I've got wife and kids and folks that are depending on me. And here I am still right in the thick, right in the heat of the battle. So folks, I just want you to, just to reiterate, it's going to take longer maybe than you think than it's gonna, maybe longer than you expected it to already have happened by now. But I tell you, you are in the right place at the right time, man. There's more big companies like Fidelity and big financial institutions that are getting things set up to where you can onboard your crypto and hold it in a 401k or in a Roth IRA and different retirement vehicles than ever before. And folks, Bitcoin is going to be $1 million token over the next 5, 10, 15 years. And right now you can buy it for $16,000 or $17,000. Once again, I do think I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee anything. It would not surprise me if we see Bitcoin have a nice relief rally and run up to 25, 30, 35,000 and then come crash back down again, during this year. But I believe that by the end of this year, we will have kind of topped out a little bit, maybe started to solidify where we're going more sideways. We could still see $10,000 Bitcoin. So don't get me wrong. I'm not telling anybody to go all in, but be prepared for both scenarios. Be prepared if crypto starts heading back up and to the right. Be prepared. Have some money in the game. Don't just have everything on the sidelines, but also be smart. Don't go all in. Keep some dry powder on the sidelines. Keep some cash if you've got some. And folks, if you don't have any cash, then figure out a way to get some, because right now there's some life-changing gains to be made. I want to go over to the chat real quick. I already shouted out Wolfgang, but I want to say hey to Johnny Midas. Happy New Year, Brad, from Palm Desert, California. Hey, thank you very much for being here. I love Palm Desert. My dad is in Palm Desert. In fact, there he is right there saying, hi, son. Hey, Dad. Glad you're here, buddy. My dad's been involved in this crypto journey with me from the very beginning. And I can't tell you how many times in 18, 19, and 20, him and I were on a phone call thinking that things were headed back up. And we would get all excited and talk about all of our dreams and the life that we were going to live and the vacations we were going to go on and the things that were going to happen, only to have everything just pulled out from underneath us and Bitcoin come crashing back down to lower lows. And, those of you that are going through this bull run, you should be excited about it. Change your perspective, because guess what? You are going to do much better than people that get in 6 or 7 or 8 months from now. Because guess what? They're going to get a bunch of gains real fast. And then guess what they're going to do? They're not going to sell, because they're going to think it's going to continue to go up. And the next thing you know, come 2026 or 2027, they're going to be the people that are feeling awful, wishing that they would have done, sold more at the top. And then they got to go through the next bear market of 26 and 27 and 28. And then finally they get it all back in 29. That's most of our stories. Just about every single person that I know that became a crypto millionaire in the 17-18 bull run didn't cash out enough. They were millionaires on paper, but they didn't sell because we all thought it was going to continue to go up. And, it took a while for us to figure out, BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong talks about how it took him 9 years to become a millionaire in crypto. So, like I say, my dad and I finally got to enjoy some of the fruits of our labor at the end of 2020 and going into 2021. And now we know how to handle this miserable time. I'm not going to lie, it's miserable. I'm not sitting here saying that you shouldn't be upset or that you can't be disappointed that it hasn't done better. But I'm telling you, folks, you got to stay in the game, because if you do, come 2024, 2025, you are going to be very, very happy that you did. If you don't, you're going to be one of those people that wants to jump off a building, because you're going to think about what you could have had. You're going to be telling your friends at work, man, I had this, I had some XRP, I had some of this Polkadot, I had some of these microcap gems that Brad talked about, like Glint and UFO. And the next thing I know, I got shaken out of the market. I got to where I didn't believe in it anymore. I sold everything. And now it looks like I'm stuck working here at this job, or I got to jump back in and go through misery in 26, 27, 28 to get back to where I should have been in 2024. So I hope you guys stick with me. Real quick, since my dad's watching, I want to give him a quick shout out. He bought me this eagle in this year for Christmas, man. This is an amazing eagle. It's got a famous artist that designed it, and it was created after 9/11. And there's some sayings on it. This represents freedom to us. My dad has a bunch of eagles in his collection. This is my first one. And this was a Christmas present from my dad. But man, this channel stands for freedom. Whatever that means to you, that's what we're trying to help you to get. Whether that's quitting your job or just being able to spend more time with your kids and have a little bit better vacations, whatever that means, this channel is here to help you get. And thank you, Dad. I love this so much, man. With that, guys, I want to give you some tokens that I'm taking a real close look at right now. I mean, I think that it's important for your mindset to be in the right place so that you're ready to receive the information. But man, I got to give you guys a little bit of meat. I got to give you a token. So let me share my screen here in just a second. I want to give a shout out and say thank you very much to 1080. I love the energy. I appreciate it. I don't know where it all comes from, but I swear to goodness, folks, you turn on that camera and all of a sudden, this is the Brad that shows up. I'm pretty fun loving and optimistic and positive all the time. But I definitely, this energy overtakes me because I'm just so passionate about what I'm talking about and I believe in it so much. Johnny, true, I've been buying 5 years straight, even in the bear market. It's more than I've ever had in my life. That's fantastic. I love to hear that. Hey, Brad, Happy New Year. The Fartin' Spartan. Hey, man, I love the Spartans, man. That's one of my favorite movies. 300 is one of my favorite movies. We got 1080 again. It's definitely snooze town with no significant movement, but holding with conviction like I've never had. I love that, man. You guys are a fantastic community. And I know that most of you that are watching this video are definitely still engaged. And that excites me. So let me pop over here to CoinGecko and pop over here and show you guys a token. I've talked about this token before, but just recently I have been taking a closer look at it. This is actually not the token. I was just looking at the price of this token earlier. This is actually a token where I'm doing some farming right now. One of the strategies that I've employed a little bit during this bear market is to find some high yield farms and invest some money into them and then just take the rewards every single day and cash it out into USDC or USDT, a stable coin, until I have my original investment back. Some of these farms are pretty exciting. They're anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900% when they start. And then, of course, they come down relatively quickly. But it doesn't take very long at 4, 5, 6, 700% to pull out your initial investment, even if it's 100 here, 500 there, and now you're sitting with a bag that is paid for. So it really wasn't my goal to actually show off this Comdex token, but it's kind of a little bit of a bonus. Once again, folks, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have any securities licenses. I'm just a guy that created freedom in my life through crypto and that's excited about sharing it and paying it forward and helping other people create that freedom in their life. The token that I do want to talk about is UFO Gaming, folks. I don't know if you have heard about this token before. I actually did a deep dive video last year. I don't remember the exact month, but it's actually my #1 video that I've ever done. It got over 10,000 views. And there's some other exciting crypto people that really like this token. In fact, I kind of came about it and heard about it through Elio Trades, who does FUD TV. As of right now, you can see here it's 50116. Its all-time low was 6035010 here, so it's still up pretty good from that. But you can see here its all-time high was 405. So I did the math a little bit earlier, and I'll just do it again just to make sure that I am right here on this. But this token is a metaverse gaming project, and I'm going to show you the website for it here in just a second. But if you take $100, if you want to not be crazy when you do some of these things, you don't have to invest, a ton of money into these to have some amazing potential. So if you take $100 and divide that by 0.000116, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 116 equals, looks like you get about 82,000 tokens, if you can see my phone there. Now, if you take 82,000 and multiply that by 0.00004 zeros, and then the all-time high was 5569, that turns into $4,800. So right now, UFO Gaming is roughly about a 48x from its all-time or from its current price back to its all-time high. But check this out, folks. Its circulating supply, its total supply, and its max supply are all out. So it doesn't have any more sell pressure coming from people that bought in the ICO or the private funding rounds. It doesn't have any sell pressure coming into this next bull run. Now, folks, I want to make it very clear. This is not a token that I am buying today, planning on selling in 2 weeks or a month or even 6 months. This is a token that I'm planning on holding until Bitcoin starts to get up to its all-time highs and goes breaking through that $100,000 barrier. When Bitcoin crashes through that $100,000 barrier, tokens like this are going to just absolutely go parabolic. Now, let me see if I can pull up the website without losing the tab. I believe I did. Let me go back and just check and make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Nope, it went to a new tab. So I'm going to stop the screen here real quick, and then I'm going to head over here to the UFO website and show you guys one of the reasons why I love this token so much. On top of Elio Trades, for those of you that have ever heard of Joe Paris, he's got a huge YouTube channel, well over 100,000 subs. He's also got some amazing short form content. I think he's up over 1 million followers on TikTok. He just recently did a little video where he talked about one of his top 5 or 10 projects for the next bull run that he was looking at. And this is it here. So you can go to ufogaming.io and take a closer look at this, but they have a staking portal where you can actually stake your UFO and earn some more UFO and earn some plasma points. I'm not going to get into all of the details, but this website here, if you get into it and start checking it out, will definitely, welcome to the future of blockchain gaming. Let UFO transport you into the dark metaverse and enter the future with play to earn gaming. Folks, we don't know who all the winners are going to be, but I think if you've been around crypto for a while, you know that the metaverse and these play to earn games are going to be absolutely massive over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for tokens that have the ability to just absolutely crush it and make, not 48 times my money, but 480 times my money in the long term. I didn't show it right here, but this thing has a $29 million market cap. So let's just say that it gets to $1 billion market cap divided by 29. 1 million divided, or 1 billion, excuse me. Okay, Brad, let's hit enough zeros in there. We get a 1 billion divided by 29 million. Oh, I did something wrong there. No, I guess I didn't. That shows that it's only a 34x. So at its all-time high, it was already over a $1 billion token. It was only up in about the 200s, though. I think that this token has the potential to get up into more like the top 25 or 50 tokens. So let's just do real quick math on that. I'm popping back over to CoinGecko. You guys are going to see the UFO gaming screen. But if I scroll down here to like number 25, we're talking 2.7 billion. And if you go back and take a look, I guess if you want to do some good possible, what's possible with this token, go back and look at tokens like Axie Infinity and look at Decentraland and Sandbox and some of those, and take a look at their market caps during the peak of the last bull run, and then divide this $29 million market cap into that, and you'll kind of get an idea of why I am so excited about it. The other token that I want to share here real quick, so I'm going to pop off a UFO Gaming. Once again, folks, my goal is not to give you all of the information. My goal is just to give you enough information that you're excited to go check it out for yourself and see if it's a token that makes sense for your portfolio, if it's a token that you are excited about and want to see and maybe want to invest in. So that's a token that my dad and I both own. Full disclosure, I own that token already. And I love it. I'm still DCAing into it, and we'll continue to be buying more of it. And then let me go back over here to CoinGecko and pull up DAG, which is Constellation is the name of the company, and DAG is the ticker. So we'll go over here to CoinGecko and type in DAG. This one was recently put back on my radar by a gentleman named Prepper Crypto. His name is Drew Wiedert, and he's actually works for BitBoy Crypto. He does producing and writing and research for the BitBoy Crypto YouTube channel. He loves his Bitcoin, but he also understands that if you really want to create wealth and you don't have a lot of money to start off with investing, I mean, if you've already got $1 million, then you will, and you just want to be safe and invested into Bitcoin, that's not necessarily a bad plan. You can turn your million into, 10 million during the next bull run if we get to 160,000. But if you only got 10 grand, putting 10 grand into Bitcoin and watching it go from 10 grand to 160,000 is exciting, but 160,000 probably isn't going to give most of us the freedom and the ability to live the life that we want to live. So in order to get some of these massive gains, you got to kind of look outside the box. So right now this is sitting at about 4 cents. Its all-time high was up at about 45 cents. So it's got about a 10x to go to get to its all-time high. So this might not be, a 1,000x token, but I think it's a solid 10 to 50 to 100x token because, folks, it's got contracts with the U.S. military. It started off with a contract with the U.S. Air Force, and now it's moved on, and I believe it has contracts with the Navy and potentially the Army also. So this token right here is one that I am super excited about. I was telling Drew on one of my live streams that I love this token because I actually heard about it back in about 2019, and I got to buy it when it was way, way, way down, not at its all-time low here of 0011, but I got into it at about 0025 or 0028 and bought roughly between about $750 and $1,000 worth of it. Now, I didn't sell it all the way at the peak, but that was one of the best investments that I made. And had I held it all the way to the peak, my $1,000 would have turned into $136,000 for $1,000 investment, folks. So I definitely would recommend maybe taking a closer look at Constellation DAG. And then last but not least, or actually not last, I'm going to show you two more real quick. This video, I don't want it to go super, super long. I don't want to be on here for an hour tonight, but I did want to share two other projects that I've talked about recently. Dimitra. The Dimitra token right now is sitting at about 0.003, so about 1/3 of a cent. And if you look at its all-time high here, it was almost a $6 token. And I actually had a person come to me from their community that said CoinGecko started tracking it after it had already peaked at about $12. So when it went public, it went public during the last bull run. It actually, from what he told me, I haven't verified this, it actually hit as high as $12 before CoinGecko started tracking it. Now, normally a token that's down 99.999% is one that would really have me worried, and I would be scared to maybe throw money at it in some circumstances. But folks, this token, if you go look at the deep dive video that I did on this token, you will see that this team is massive. I want to say that they have about 125 employees. They've got plenty of money to make it through this bear market. They're growing, they're building, and I think that this has a huge potential. Plus, I love the old saying, making a living while making a difference. This is actually a token that helps small farmers across the world to maximize their crops and their profitability, and helps them to keep track of their livestock, and helps them to have a better yield, and also maybe keeps them from making some mistakes that would cost them some of their crops. So they're able to take these small farmers and help them to be much more profitable, which when you're in some of these third world countries, that can make an amazing difference. If you take a guy that's maybe got a farm and he's making a couple $1,000s a year from his farm, and now you're able to help him double that to 4,000, while a $2,000 increase to us seems like nothing, that actually puts some of these people in a position to live out a life that is way, way, way better. And just, it warms my heart to see what these guys are doing. So take a close look at that. And then I think I lied a little bit. I actually thought of two more that I want to show you. The other one here that I really love, I've talked about this 100 times in my videos, is the Beamswap token, Glint it's called. Let's see where this is at. I haven't looked at the price of it for a few weeks now. So it's sitting down at 0.82. So let's see what we can get. How much would a million tokens cost us for this here? That's 10,000, 100,000, a million. So you get a million tokens for $824. The cap on this sucker right now is $361,000 market cap. Beamswap is a DEX that is built on the Moonbeam network. For those of you that don't know, Moonbeam won a parachain slot on the Polkadot network. Polkadot is a top 10 token, or if it's not in the top 10, it's 11 or 12 or right in that ballpark, and been an amazing chain and all sorts of great things that are happening with Polkadot. And I believe that the Moonbeam and the Moon River ecosystems are going to thrive during the next bull run. Well, this DEX is going to be the #1 DEX, in my opinion, on the Moonbeam network. And as more and more projects start to move and build on Moonbeam, this could be like buying a Cardano, buying a Matic, buying an Avalanche. I would say buying a Solana, but I know Solana's been going through some rough times, but it's like buying those before 95% of the crypto world, maybe even 99% of the crypto world had ever heard of them. Go back and do your own due diligence. But if you would have bought Avalanche way back when it first launched and when it was in its infancy and held it through the last bull run, you would have made millions of dollars. If you would have bought Matic back in its infancy and held it during the last bull run, you would have made millions of dollars. I believe that this legitimately has the potential to 1000x. And if I had to pick one token that could literally turn $100 into $1 million, and I had to bet on one token that had the best possibility for that, this is the token that I would buy. Because even I want to say that it's, I forget how many billions it would have to get to do a 10,000x, but it's literally, it's not out of the realm of possibility. This thing starts getting adoption like, Uniswap and PancakeSwap and some of the other big dexes on these network. It starts getting some adoption like that. It's going to have some amazing numbers. Not only is it a DEX, but it's also a launch pad. So as we move into the next bull run, it's going to have all of the projects that are launching on the Moonbeam network. It's going to have IDOs and be launching those also on the Beamswap DEX. That's going to create a huge amount of buy pressure, because in order to get to the top tier and be able to invest the max amount into Beamswap IDOs, as of right now, you need about 1.2 million tokens roughly. Could be a little bit less or a little bit more. And there's a good possibility when they came out with those parameters They came out with those parameters when the token was up higher. So now that it's been beaten down to this price, it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in time they maybe raise the numbers that you need in order to get into these IDOs. Like I say, once the market starts to rebound and they launch a new project or two onto the network, they are gonna do some amazing things, in my humble opinion. And then last but not least, for those of you guys that like NFTs, I want to share an NFT project with you that is kind of near and dear to my heart, that I am still extremely excited about. So in order to do that, let me stop the screen here again so you get to see my big smiling face. And then I am going to go over here to Twitter. I think that'll be, well, let me see. Maybe not. Let me try to pull it up here real quick myself. Yeah, so I'm going to actually go to their website to start with here real quick. So I play a lot of poker, folks. I love poker. Part of the reason that I moved to Las Vegas originally was because I was a poker dealer back in Washington State. My first job here in Las Vegas was at the MGM Grand. I worked at the Wynn. I worked at the Venetian. I dealt the World Series of Poker. I actually dealt the World Series of Poker here in Vegas back in 2003 when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker, which really took and created the poker boom in the early 2000s, and that is still going strong. So this project is called Soul City Poker. I also have done a video on this project, and one of the reasons that I love it is it's an NFT project. They've got two different NFTs. They've got their Gen 1 NFT donkeys, and then they've got their Gen 2 donkeys. But right here at Soul City Poker, if you like to play poker, you can go and set up an account in just a couple of minutes. There's many different ways to play. So if you hit the play button, when you hit the play button here, it pulls up the different ways that you can play. You can download it onto your Mac. You can download it onto your iOS, your Apple, download it onto Android. It even has just a Windows browser client where you can just type in soulcitypoker.com. You don't have to download anything. But the reason that I love this is it's a revenue share project. So back when I originally talked about this project, the donkeys, the Gen 1 donkeys, there was 777 of them. And if you owned a donkey, then you got part of the rake every single Monday. So for those of you that don't understand how poker works, the way that they make money in a poker room is they take a little sliver of the pot every time. So like at the Venetian, they take 10% of the pot, up to $5 or $6 at this point. So when there's $10 in the pot, the Venetian takes $1. When there's 20, they take another dollar, so on and so forth. Well, it's the same thing with Soul City Poker. Every time there's a hand, they take a small portion of the pot, and it's called rake. Well, they take, at the end of every week, they take their expenses, their advertising costs, all of the expenses that it cost them to run the room, and then they take what's left and they divide up a significant percentage of it and give it to the owners of the Soul City Generation 1 donkeys. So I was able to buy a donkey about 3 or 4 months ago at 21 and going on 22 soul, which was roughly $700 at the time. Now, over the last 3-4 months, that is now the floor on those is almost up to 70 soul. So cash flow wise, it's still worth, with Soul being worth, $10 right now, it's still worth about $700. But every single week for the last several months, I've been getting anywhere from about 2.5 all the way up to, or I should say about 25%, all the way up to 50% of a soul every single week. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, folks, but I think Soul is going to make it through this craziness. I think it's going to make it through the FTX debacle. I think it's going to come out and still do very well in this next bull run. Now, as this poker room grows, the revenue grows. So when I first bought the donkey, it was bringing in about 15th of a soul. I was making about 150 in what's called PKR, and 1,000 PKR buys you one soul. So I was getting about a 15th of a soul. It's consistently gone up, and now I'm earning somewhere between about 35% and 50% of a soul every single week. Now imagine, folks, when that gets up to being worth one soul a week. And then imagine that even if Solana doesn't crush it and get all the way back to its all-time high, just gets back to say even $50 a token, $50 a token, and you're getting 4 of them a month. That's $200 a month in passive income for an asset that you spent $700 on. Not to mention, if they're worth $700 right now, when they're earning a third to a half of a soul, how much do you think they're going to be worth? Those donkeys are going to be worth when they're getting you a soul a week, and soul is worth $50. So folks, once again, not financial advice, but those are a few projects that I'm excited about. I am basically playing poker on that site. One of my goals is, as I win the poker chips, is I'm trying to take a percentage of that and buy more of those donkeys. As of right now, I own 3 of them. And in fact, this is something that I love so much that I even my land. What's going on? There we go. My screen went black. He got in on it at about 26 or 27 soul, and he's pretty excited because he's not only got this asset, this donkey that's going up in value, but he's also earning, passive income from his investment. So I'm gonna go back here into the chat, and then we're gonna call it a night. We've been on here for about 45 minutes now. It doesn't look like, unless I wonder if I'm not seeing any chat since for about 20 minutes now. So I'm not sure if mine froze up. Let me pop over here to the YouTube real quick and see if I'm missing something on the chat. So nope, it looks like they're both the same. So good deal. It doesn't look like I have a bunch of questions or comments to catch up with. Real fast before we get out of here, if anybody that's watching does have a question, feel free. I'm happy to answer a few questions before I get out of here. And man, I hope that this was valuable information for you. Let's go back to the beginning of this video. Part of the title in the description is, you're much closer to crypto millions than you think. Folks, if you've been here this long, you've made it through the toughest times. 2023 is still going to have some ups and downs, and it's going to be bumpy, but overall, by 2024, you'll have a bigger portfolio. Even if you don't buy anything, you're probably going to have a bigger portfolio by 2024 than you did today, which we couldn't say that about 2022. It just kept on going down and kept on going down and kept on going down in 2022. So please, for heaven's sake, stick with it. Stay strong. And if you have some cash, keep buying. And what do we got going on here? Hey, thank you very much for being here, Savian. We are here. Justin, you are the man, Brad. Thank you. Hey, you don't know how much that means to me. I love every one of you guys, and I appreciate your comments. It helps me to get through the tough times. Like I said, I'm doing my best to stay strong and to set a good example and do the things that I tell you guys to do. In fact, I even doing some other things extracurricular, like I've mentioned in some of my videos. If you need extra money, maybe go drive for Uber a few hours in the evening, or, get a second job in the evening or whatever. I'm actually looking out and expanding and doing some things that enable me to spend more of my money, buying crypto instead of just using it all for life. So Johnny Midas, thank you again for being here. God bless you. Next time I am headed down to my dad's house in Palm Desert, maybe we can meet up at Agua Caliente and, have lunch or have dinner or something. I'd love to meet you in person. Justin, always a little more optimistic after listening to you, man. I appreciate that. That is the goal, because hope will get you through, man. When you see that light at the end of the tunnel, when you have hope, you can get through things, man. It's people that become hopeless that do crazy things and do the kind of things that we hear about that makes us sad. So hope is so important, man. Hope is so important. With that, I'm going to tell you guys one more story. My dad will get a kick out of this if he's a listening. So here's a story on hope and a story on belief and why it's important to have people in your life that believe in you. If you don't have anybody in your life that believes in you and your crypto journey, you got me. So you can't say you don't have anybody that believes in you, because I do. But I'm going to tell you guys this story real quick before I wrap it up. When I was about 5 years old, there was this kid in the neighborhood that was a little bit older than me, just by a few months, but he's a little bit bigger. He was kind of, he was Samoan, and he was pretty stocky, and he picked on me. And it wasn't a lot of fun. He was always picking on me. And my dad, taught me in my life that don't go starting fights, but if you're going to get into one, make sure you finish it. Make sure you win. So my dad never gave me a hard time for getting into fights, as long as I wasn't the one that instigated. But long story short, this day we're playing down in kind of the driveway that goes down this dirt area, and all of a sudden he starts picking on me again, and I just had enough. So we get into a brawl for 5-year-olds. The next thing you know, we're down on the ground, and this kid is on top of me, and he's pummeling me pretty good. And I noticed that my dad is standing up on a deck. We had this 2-story house, so he's standing up on the deck, just looking down, keeping an eye on things, but he's not running down to save me. He's not going to break it up. But after a little while, this kid was getting the best of me, and my dad knew that I could be doing better. He knew that I could beat this kid up. I just didn't know it yet. And so my dad yelled down to me and he said, "Brad, get up." And I looked up at him, and I'll never forget this moment, folks. I looked up at him and I said, "Dad, I can't." And my dad looked back down at me and he said, "Brad, if you don't get up right now, I'm going to kick your ass." Now, maybe that sounds like a little harsh to you guys, folks, but when he said that, I knew that he believed that I could get up. My dad's a very fair man. If he didn't think that I could get up, if he didn't think I could win this fight, he wouldn't have said that. But I knew that my dad believed in me in that moment, and that my dad knew that I could get up. So what do you think I did? I got up and I started laying a whooping into this kid, and I started winning the fight. And long story short, his mom or his babysitter came out as soon as I started doing some ass kicking. She came out and stopped the fight fairly quickly. But the end of that story, folks, is that kid never bullied me again. He never picked on me again. And it was all because my dad had the belief and gave me hope. And folks, that's what this channel is all about. I want to give you belief. I want to give you hope. I believe in you. And I know that you have hope, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that your life is going to be changed by this crypto journey. And then the final kicker is, finally in about 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in there, we ended up going to the same elementary school. This punk kid had forgotten what happened at 5 years old. We're playing football out on the field during recess, and something happened where we got mad at each other. And the next thing I know, he was coming up in my face, ready to fight. And because I had whooped him once when we were 5, I wasn't afraid anymore. I didn't get down underneath him and have to fight my way back up. I just kicked his butt from one end of the schoolroom all the way, one end of the schoolyard all the way to the other end of it. And that was it. But folks, man, it's important. One of my favorite new sayings that I heard not too long ago by a guy named Damon Johnson is, he said, "Folks, you don't got to win all of your fights, but you got to fight all of your fights." Right now, we're fighting, folks. We are fighting for what we believe in. We're fighting for better lives. And I am excited to lock arms with you guys and have an amazing 2023. And I look forward to 2024 and 2025 when we are spending some time on some amazing beaches and some amazing vacations and doing some amazing things together. So with that, folks, I love you. God bless you. Have a fantastic night, and we will see you very